Good morning, Lionhearts. It's your old pal Jordan the Lion, and here we are, day 2 of Budapest. You know how cool my hostel is? Not only did I stay up for like 4 hours last night in the lobby, sitting on a couch, editing all those videos that you guys have been watching, and nobody said a word, nobody bothered me or anything, but then because I had sent them an email asking a question and they didn't respond to it, they actually stopped me on my way out today and said, hey, we want to apologize. And I said, well, I need to get one of those, they said they had a pocket Wi-Fi thing that you could kind of like take with you out and about today so that you can have Wi-Fi. He said, hey, since we just noticed we didn't respond to your email 2 days ago, we just want to give you the Wi-Fi for your trip for free. So I have a pocket Wi-Fi. I'm going to test it out today and see how it goes. But this is going to be a great day. I have a handful of things I'm going to do today and take you along with me. We're going to start at something that I've been looking forward to seeing probably more than anything else that is out here since I came, and it's St. Stephen's Basilica. We're going to buy a ticket to take the stairway all the way to the top, and we're going to see something extremely interesting on the inside, and we might even go back while I'm here to see an organ performance. They do classical organ performances here, I think just about every night. So let's get this day started. We have a long walk ahead of us. On our way, St. Stephen's Basilica. And as a massive Grateful Dead fan myself, St. Stephen always sticks out in my head because it's such a great Grateful Dead song, you know? Yes, it's totally uncustomary of me to be drinking a Coke, but they didn't have any coffee at the hostel, so until I get a coffee, I wanted to get something to get me going. And this is actually pretty close to where I'm staying. That's a Ramones song, so I wonder what's up at that place. Beat on the Brat Club? And I do always have the option of renting a bike at any point today. And I think, oh, this looks like a pretty cool cafe right straight ahead. Let's start here. Now we're talking. We got an espresso. Oh, and by the way, for you hardcore drinkers, I have seen countless people walking around drinking in public, so apparently that's cool here. Nice art. Well guys, if you were wondering what you missed out on after I signed off last night, all you missed out on was I went to kind of an outdoor street fair and I got something to eat, and what I got was I got a burger on a langos, which is like this really great kind of tortilla, thicker than tortilla. It's like a bread that they put goat cheese, sour cream, some other kind of cheese, a little bit of salt, and I had a burger on that, and then I tried a classic one, and then I went home and edited for 4 hours, so you didn't miss anything. Monroe Apartments, nice lion heads, and they pretty much have art on the walls here to everything, even the seamstresses. Here's another one of those ruin bars. Now what the ruin bars are basically, and I'll go to one later, is these are buildings that after the war and everything, they were just left abandoned and to fall apart, and at some point somebody came and started a bar in there, and there's a lot of those all over the city, like this one right here. Now these buildings, they're just old kind of ruins, but wouldn't that just be cool to live in a building that looked like that as your apartment? Oh yeah, look at that magnificence. Now this is not St. Stephen, but this was along the way as I was walking. This is what I've been showing you, and since the doors are open, I kind of want to go in and take a look. Don't you? All right, back to the mission at hand. What a beautiful church. I even said a prayer in there. Even being in Hungary and not Los Angeles, I'm still seeing filming happening and filming locations. If you, like me, love architecture, sculpture, statues, this is definitely the city for you. It's a work of art itself, the city. Everywhere you go. Definitely my kind of city. So cool, look at this place. This is just like your average, normal architecture in these parts. I definitely would not complain about seeing this every day. All the way down to the entrances. I mean, you'd be living in art every day. And I'll say this, it's a total testament to this country and this city because they've been ravaged by battles and wars pretty much throughout their entire existence, and every time things get destroyed they rebuild it. You gotta love that about them. And there's a reason, if you're wondering why I didn't go into a bunch of history at the Citadella last night, tell you what that was all for and everything, I'm gonna go back during the day because there's a few things they have on display that my camera just wouldn't pick up, and I'd rather tell you the story when I get there and see it during the day sometime. Great googly moogly, there it is. St. Stephen's. And we're actually gonna make it all the way up there. So St. Stephen was actually the first king of Hungary, and he was the king who brought Christianity to Budapest, actually made this whole city basically Christian. Now, there were a lot of Jews here as well, but during World War II, they were pretty much completely obliterated from the city. This is I think it's now the third largest church in Budapest, and this, St. Stephen was said to be a king who could not be wavered, bought off, or anything, ruled with an iron fist, and so they kept, I swear, his mummified right fist inside this church, and we're gonna go see it now. Now here's the actual real true entrance. Amazing. Now let's go on in. Little dim in here. Wow. Still looking for that fist. Now I think the fist is actually in here. Yeah, it is. It is. Oh, this is so exciting. And I think we're gonna have to use the deeper lens for this. Can you see that, guys? See it in there? Wow. St. Stephen's fist. King St. Stephen. Now let's go get a ticket and go to the top. I think you have to buy, it's about $4. You have to buy a ticket to take the stairs or the elevator up. Here are the stairs, but I'm not going to take them. I'm running out of time. Beyond the fact that I don't like heights, I'm actually just taking the elevator because I have a bunch of stuff I want to do today, and I just don't have time to be climbing stairs and everything. I'm running late anyway. Now I gotta take these stairs to get the rest. Well, here we are, gang. We made it to the top. It's windy as heck and starting to sprinkle. And there's the true top, the actual dome itself. And I even signed the guest book. All right, the next stop on our little adventure today is we're gonna hit the Hungarian Opera House. I walked past it on my way to St. Stephen's and it was amazing, so I had to come back and show you guys. I think you can actually walk through it too. Well, there it is. How cool. Let's see what we can see inside. There's statues and stuff all over the place out here. Wow. Holy moly. Unreal. Unreal. Beautiful. Well, apparently you have to go inside, you have to take a tour. And the tour is a little bit pricey. But then on top of that, I said, well, will I be able to film? And he said, you have to buy a photo ticket to be able to take pictures as well. So I'd rather just come to a performance here if I can. And we'll do it that way. Pretty interesting building. Like I said, I think I'd rather maybe come to an opera here if I can and take a few photos or maybe some video that way, because it was like, gosh, what was it? It was more expensive than the Bass. It was like 15 bucks just to take the tour, and then you had to buy a photo ticket too, so I don't want to see the inside that bad. Speaking of weird, this thing, part of the light pole, but this is going to turn into a weird day because it's starting to sprinkle and I don't know what's going to happen. We have a lot of things I want to do today. We'll see what happens. Now where I want to go is called the House of Terror. I don't exactly know if you're able to film in here. I was able to find some video online, but this place is incredible because, oh man, this was like the secret police headquarters at one time. And what they did here was they used to bring people in, interrogate them, torture them, kill them. And a few of the things they have inside, and I hope I get to show you, is I believe they have a few leaves with a bunch of victims' names on them in remembrance. But then right at the very end, they have a room that's wallpapered with photos. And those photos are people that were responsible for the abuse and the offenders. Some that they were punished and some were not. Some are still out roaming free in this area to this day, probably. They've said that a lot of them are. And so they've actually posted their photos in there so that even though if they got off and were never punished, their face will remain in there as a guilty person. I actually kind of support that. And I believe they used the House of Terror as the secret police headquarters during the time of the Russians and the Germans, kind of World War II-ish and beyond, up into the 50s. I told you, they love their statues here. I don't even know who that is. Now we actually need to take this thing down and go underground to get across the street here, because we need to go over there. All these little staircases, some of them lead to the train and some lead across the streets. And while I'm here, I need to try one of these things too. I saw them online. It's a pretty traditional Hungarian kind of dessert. They kind of wrap this dough around that pin and then they bake it and sugar it. Now, one thing's for sure I've discovered in the time that I've been here is that there's no way in 1 week that you can see all of Budapest. I mean, there's so many museums here, it's unreal. Fine art museums, history museums, everything. Oh man, there it is. God, now that you know what happened here, doesn't it just send shivers up your spine? Ugh. Now I'm gonna go see if they'll let me film in there. If not, I'm gonna take the tour anyway and I'll come out and tell you about it. That's celebrating the Hungarian Revolution when they took it all back. And these are actually on the outside of the building. They line the building. I do really appreciate that style of history. to do any photography inside the museum past this point, but those are all the offenders on the wall that I was telling you about that they've kept. Can you imagine what happened here? Look at this old tank. Ugh, it just gives me the chills. Here's a little monument right in front of the House of Terror for the Iron Curtain. See, it says Iron Curtain right there along the spine. And also right here in front of the House of Terror is a segment of the Berlin Wall. You can see it says right there. Well, I wanted to tell you guys what I saw in there and how I felt. I don't think I've ever cried so much or teared up so much at people I don't know than I did in there. That was truly a house of evil. When you first go in, you see the tank that invaded, and then you start walking through and they have footage of the Nazi invasion taking over Budapest, and then as you walk further down you see the Soviet invasion years later, and it was just disgusting. It was totally disgusting. And as I walked through, it was a lot of statues that used to be presented here when the Nazis and when the Soviets were running the city, and then there were photos of the mass graves, people who were brought here, pulled from their houses and forced to confess to things they didn't do. If you wouldn't confess, they showed video of them bringing in your friends and them forcing your friends to rat you out, and then they would bring your friends in and have them say, you know, don't deny anything. I've already told them that you did everything. It's no use. And a lot of people died inside this building. One of the things that I saw was I saw a torture room with all the mallets they would have used to torture people. When I went downstairs, I saw all the cells where those people would have been housed, the gas chambers, the solitary confinement rooms, the bathroom. Just absolutely inhumane. And when I thought I couldn't take anything else, I walked around a corner and there was a step with a hangman's gambit, and you could just feel and see what happened there. And every room that you would go in, every one of these prison rooms, the guy photobombed, every one of those prison rooms that you would go in, they would have pictures of people that had perished there. Some were bishops and holy men. It was just sad. It was really sad. If you ever come here, I think it's a learning lesson for sure, but it was just a despicable time in history. I almost don't even want to go into anymore. They did have a Soviet car in here that was behind a curtain, so you could barely see it, but every once in a while the lights in the room would go dim and the inside of the car would light up red, and you could see that the back seat of this limo had like the big hammer and sickle logo and everything, and you could see the offices that these dastardly people would have had, the interrogation, like I said, the recording devices to record the confessions. They had, basically, from when I saw Scientology documentaries, it looks like they had an e-meter, and that they would have people that they were trying to get confess, make them hold it and read their vibrations or whatever. I don't know, I hope that was a decent review of what I saw in there, guys. It was very gut-wrenching, and like I said, I now have seen evil. They don't want you to film anything in there, they don't want you to take photos or anything, but I saw somebody do it, so I pulled my camera out real quick and got a little bit of one room. I showed you a padded cell with the gas nozzle above the room. Here's the padded cell. And this is where they would pipe in the gas to kill people. Disgusting. And what I learned inside was that when the Nazis came and invaded Budapest, this was obviously their secret headquarters. This was the secret police, the House of Terror, but it was basically an interrogation house and torture house, death house. And then When they were gone, then the communist Soviets took over. And then in 1956, it was all done. Thank God. You don't see these cars every day. And if you were curious as to how much it was to go into the House of Terror, it was converted $7.72. Look at all the gold trimming on the top part of this building. Isn't that amazing? You get some statue faces, and then all that gold. Look at that, that's beautiful. Alright, I'm thinking I need to get something to eat. I haven't eaten yet today. And man, it's whenever I go out and do vlogging like this, even in Los Angeles, if I get really wrapped up in things and if I have a bunch of things I want to do, I will just forgo eating, drinking, everything. So now I think I probably should get something to eat, and then we're going to hit one more stop today because it's starting to rain out. See the trains down there in the very bottom? Pretty cool. These are all over the place on the edge of buildings. And I think part of what made me so sad when I was in there, even beyond just the death and seeing these mass graves and seeing video propaganda of people being forced to confess when they didn't do anything, was that they showed a video of Emra Nagy, who has a statue out here that I'm gonna see one of these days that I'm here. Might even be along the path today. And he was one that went in and absolutely refused to confess, absolutely said that he was a scapegoat, would not confess, and it was a 6-day trial, and he went down here in Budapest as a hero. Check out this building. Look how rustic it is, but then if you look closely, you can see these faint paintings that are starting to wear off. Now this is kind of cool. Do you see those statues over there? And they bookend this with two more right here. Here's another one. If you like statues and great architecture, this is your city. Any one of these ruined buildings I would totally love to live in. They just have so much character. This cobblestone makes me think of the Simon and Garfunkel song. Slow down, you move too fast. You got to make the morning last. Tripping down the cobblestones, looking fun and feeling groovy. I don't want to tell Adam the woo, but all those balls hanging up there look an awful lot like the stuff they made Argyle out of. If you don't know Argyle, that's Adam's favorite Hollywood pig. Rad architecture, I love this stuff. And by the way guys, I kind of forgot to mention this, and I really wanted to mention it when I first got here and I totally forgot. If you're noticing that a lot of the buildings seem to all be the same height, it's because they have a regulation here that no buildings can be higher than 96 meters high. And that all goes back to Hungary becoming, or Budapest and everything becoming getting its independence. And what's up with all the naked babies? That's a little weird. Wow, isn't this place something? This is Art Nouveau and spades. Nice. Look at all that. Golly. God, that's amazing. Well, bummer. This was our next stop. It's called the Upper Skerritt, and it was actually like a artist colony in the 18th and 19th century, and it's closed today. They said it won't be open again until Monday. Some pretty famous painters and composers lived here. Now it's a statue garden, but I think at least I can pop my camera, through here and show you some of the stuff. There's one. Maybe I'll switch lenses for this too. And I think most of the statues in here are the old Soviet statues. I'm not going to be able to show you too much because I think I'll just have to come back one of the other days when they're open. There's another one. There you can see, if you look around in here, you can see there's kind of stuff all over the place. And there you can see a few heads in the windows. Now I don't know what that is here, but it looks a lot like a cemetery marker where I'm from. Sorry guys, I'm doing the best I can from the outside gates. Some sort of sculpture there. If you take a look in here, there's all kinds of stuff in here. It's a little creepy. Elephant sighting. Oh yeah, this is the Art Nouveau type stuff we came for. Look at the window frames and everything, cool. And the gate. And I was reading that this block that we were just in for that statue garden, that most of that block was seriously damaged when the Soviets came and took over, and a lot of those buildings were destroyed and they had to rebuild them since then. So this neighborhood's seen a lot of that history. Look at how different those two buildings side by side are from each other. I honestly don't know what this place is or what they serve, but if they have goulash, I'm in. And then we're probably gonna call it a day, guys. Weather's getting kind of bad. Looks like kind of a nice place, so this is where I'm gonna eat. So I think I'm gonna get some stuffed cabbage and cordon bleu. Well, I may have overdone it just a tad. There's the cordon bleu with some sauerkraut. There's the cabbage roll, stuffed cabbage. They gave me some bread. This is about $5.50 or $6, and so is this one. So all this for $10. There's no way I'll finish it, but I wanted to try it. Well, we got the bill, and the bill is 4,050 forints, which is basically like $15.50. But what I didn't realize was that when I ordered that was basically 2 full meals. So I'm taking the stuffed cabbage home. I got 2 waters and a coffee and 2 full meals for about $15.50, and that is about $32 in forints right there. And I'm gonna leave a 1,050 forint tip, which is basically like $5 or like $4.50. All right, gang, I just had a great meal and the jet lag is kicking in and it's getting late in the day, so I'm gonna go back to my hostel and take a nap. Maybe I'll go out tonight, but if I do, I'll post that video separately. I wanted to send a big shout out thank you to Cheryl Harper for becoming my newest Patreon, and I will see y'all tomorrow. Have a great night. Goodbye.